Please rise in welcoming the Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Shri Lakshman Prasad Acharya. I request everyone to please remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you. Loving and serving God's creatures is the easiest way to make our hearts expansive. When we see Mother Nature as the embodiment of God, we will automatically serve and protect her. By commemorating the humble words of Amma, I extend a very warm good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you to the Valedictory event of the Sustainable and Resilient Communities Conclave. My humble salutations to our Civil 20 Chair, Amma, Her Holiness Mata Amritanandamai Devi, and my wholehearted greetings and a warm welcome to all gathered here today. Please allow me to introduce the dignitaries on the dais today. We have with us Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Shri Lakshman Prasad Acharya. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please. We also have with us Honorable Minister of Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Shri Kunga Nima Lepcha. Please welcome His Excellency High Commissioner of the Republic of Gambia to India, Mr. Mustafa Jawara. We also have with us Swami Amrita Swarup Anandapuri, Vice Chairman, Mata Amrita Anandamai Math, and Troika member of C20. A round of applause, please. Please also welcome Shri Anil Rajrai, Commissioner, Secretary, Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Sikkim. Also, Dr. Manisha V. Ramesh, Provost of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham and C20 SRC Working Group Coordinator. And finally, we have with us Professor Vinod Menon, Founder, Member of NDMA and SRC C20 SRC Working Group Coordinator. Welcome all. Please let me humbly welcome all the distinguished dignitaries to this session. First, I would like to cordially invite Shri Prabhakar Rai, Special Secretary cum Director of Sikkim State Disaster Management Authority, Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Sikkim, to the podium for the welcome address.
Namaskar, good evening. With the permission of the Chair, I would begin. I'm honored and happy to be standing before this august gathering during this valedictory function of the 2 days C20 conclave jointly organized by Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham and Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Sikkim. On behalf of the organizers, I take this privilege to welcome Sri Lakshman Prasad Acharya, Honorable Governor of Sikkim, on this auspicious occasion. Similarly, we have been joined online by Sri Ashwini Kumar Chaube, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. We welcome you, sir. We are equally humbled to have the presence of Sri K.N. Lepcha, Honorable Minister, Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Law, Sports, Government of Sikkim. We welcome you, sir, to this valedictory function. Of course, we have with us His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, Ambassador of the Republic of Gambia on the dais too. We heartily welcome you, sir. Joining us online is Sri Bharat Lal, IFS, Director General, National Center for Good Governance, Government of India, to whom we extend our heartiest welcome to this valedictory function. To make this event, the C20 Conclave, successful, we have had with us Professor Vinod Menon, C20 Working Group SRC Coordinator, and Dr. Manisha V. Ramesh, C20 Working Group Sustainable and Resilient Communities Coordinator. We would like to welcome both of them who are seated on the dais. We are honored to have Her Excellency Ms. Joyce Kakura Masti Kikafunda, High Commissioner of Republic of Uganda, and Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puri, Troika member C20 in this auspicious occasion. We heartily welcome both dignitaries. May I also extend our warm welcome to Honorable Councillors, Ganto Municipal Corporation, to this function, along with the Honorable Governor, Secretary to Governor, and other officers from the Government of Sikkim in this function. On behalf of the State Disaster Management Authority, we would also like to welcome all the delegates representing the 32 countries and the civil society organization representatives of the country and the state of Sikkim in this program. Finally, I take the privilege to welcome Sri Anil Raj Rai, Secretary, Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, for this valedictory function. Not to forget, we also have been joined by our officers, students, academicians, intellectuals, and representatives from IPR, press and media, whom we heartily welcome to this valedictory function. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your warm welcome. It is now my pleasure to invite Professor Vinod Menon for his address. Professor Menon is the International Coordinator for Sustainable and Resilient Communities Working Group under C20. He is the founding member of the National Disaster Management Authority India. He worked in the fields of disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and public policy analysis. In 2005, he was nominated by the Prime Minister of India as a founder member of NDMA Government of India with the status of a Union Minister of State. May I invite Professor Menon to the podium to give an overview about the C20 Working Group, Sustainable and Resilient Communities.
Your Excellency, Sri Lakshman Prasad Acharya, the Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Honorable Minister of Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Mr. Tung Neman Lepcha, and distinguished dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, distinguished delegates, and all those who are attending online while the live streaming of this session is going on. I would like to basically give an overview of this C20 working group on sustainable and resilient communities, climate, environment, and net zero targets. This working group is one of the 14 working groups in the C20 platform. And out of these 14 working groups, 5 of the working groups are led by Amrita University faculty members. And we have the chair of the C20 platform nominated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India is Mada Amritandamayi Devi, the humanitarian leader and spiritual guru, fondly called and reverently called Amma, with millions of disciples in many countries around the world. And we have her guidance and her blessings guiding this spirit of deliberations in the various working groups. And we have actually 4 sub-themes in this working group: climate resilience and social justice, environmental sustainability, net zero emission management, and compassion-driven approaches for sustainable and resilient communities. And in the last 2 days, we've had plenary sessions, breakout sessions, training programs, and exhibitions, and also a lot of good practice exemplars, which are presented by CSOs, which are shortlisted from hundreds of udaharans which are submitted by CSOs from India and also from abroad, from the G20 member countries and also from the invited guest countries. So we actually would like to use this platform of the C20 to have communications and interactions with communities and also with stakeholder groups from the society, including corporate sector, government officials, elected representatives, and also civil society organizations, multidisciplinary professionals, and also the people from academia, science and technology, engineering, and various other disciplines. So we have been having dialogues through webinars with CSOs, government officials, and elected representatives and general public and multidisciplinary professionals and other G20 platforms and C20 working groups and academia to really bring out the voices of the CSOs and the communities to the mainstream G20 leadership and world leaders. And we have had policy tracks, compassion-driven chowpals with communities, and we will actually have more details from Dr. Manisha Ramesh, who will be presenting on the highlights. And we also have training programs and certification which are done here, and the presentation of these udaharans. And we feel that this is actually an opportunity for networking among CSOs from the G20 member countries, and also for everybody to understand each other in terms of what are the ways by which many countries are actually looking at sustainable and resilient communities. And we found these 2 days of interactions here extremely fruitful, promising, and also we look forward to continuing these interactions in the coming months. And we also would like to mention specifically the cooperation from the government of Sikkim, from the State Disaster Management Authority, and also from the councillor of Chandmari, where we saw the landslide monitoring system, and we really look forward to the benefits of disaster risk reduction and resilience by Sikkim, which is a truly organic state, and also the flagship programs which have been there, including the planting of 100 saplings when a new baby is born in this state. And this is a very unique way of looking at environmental conservation. And we feel that this program and also the program of Bahini by the government of Sikkim is also very promising. So we feel that we would like to take some of these good practice examples from here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to make a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Menon, for delivering an informative overview about the C20 working group. I'd like to inform that this valedictory event is being live streamed on Government of Sikkim's official Facebook page managed by the State IPR Department. Moving on. Next, I humbly invite Dr. Manisha V. Ramesh to the podium, Provost of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. She holds multiple portfolios such as strategic initiatives, research and innovation, interdisciplinary, and AI plus X. She is the Dean of International Programs and School for Sustainable Development, and also the Director and Professor at Amrita Center for Wireless Networks and Applications. We are very pleased to have you with us today. I request you to kindly talk on the highlights of Conclave and C20 working group.
Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Sri Amriteshwari Namaha. Pranams at Amma's lotus feet. Good evening to one and all. My humble prostrations to one and all. My humble pranams to Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Sri Lakshman Prasad Acharya, Sri Ashwini Kumar Chaubey, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and Honorable Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India, Sri Kunga Nima Lepcha, Honorable Minister, Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Government of Sikkim, His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, Ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Ms. Joyce Kakuramasti Matsi Kikafunda, High Commissioner of the Republic of Uganda, Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puri Ji, C20 Troika member and Vice Chairman of Mata Amritanandamayi Mutt, Sri Anil Raj Rai, Secretary, Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Government of Sikkim, Sri Prabhagar Rai, Special Secretary cum Director, Sikkim State Disaster Management Authority, Professor Vinod Menon, Coordinator C20, Dr. Shashankan, Dean, Amrita School of Engineering, distinguished representatives from the Government of Sikkim, councillors, CSOs, and all the dignitaries on and off the dais. I am very delighted to present the summary of the Sustainable and Resilient Communities Conclave, the flagship event organized by the C20 India 2023 Working Group on Sustainable and Resilient Communities, Climate, Environment, and Net Zero Targets from 29 April to 30 April 2023. The conclave, spanning 2 days, gave us the opportunity to engage in dialogues and deliberations for developing policy recommendations in areas such as climate resilience, social justice, environmental sustainability, net zero emission management, and compassion-driven approaches to sustainable and resilient communities. The conclave showcased 70+ eminent speakers from various civil society organizations, government, international and national governmental and non-governmental organizations, academia and industry from 22 countries. Some of the key participating organizations include the Department of Food and Agriculture USA, San Jose City Council USA, International Center for Climate Change and Development, ICARD, UNEP, Consortium for Capacity Building, Watershed Organization, Schneider Electric, Tata Consultancy Services, the World Bank USA, UN Habitat, Sikkim State Disaster Management Authority, Climate Network South Asia, Vasta Foundation, Industry Foundation, the name goes extensively. The conclave drew more than 2,000 participants across various platforms globally from 30+ countries over 2 days. The conclave has brought together a multitude of stakeholders to bring out multi-layered conversations around the gaps, challenges, and recommendations to tackle the pressing problems the world faces in the areas such as climate resilience and social justice, environmental sustainability, net zero emission management, and compassion-driven approaches to sustainable and resilient communities. I will now provide a high-level summary of the conclave. Day 1 showcased 44 speakers across 4 plenary and 2 roundtable sessions. Session 1 focused on climate resilience. The speakers and participants deliberated on the importance of integrating local and community-centric approaches through cross-sectoral community engagement to build climate resilience. The panelists stressed on the importance of the rights-based approach to climate resilience, along with the need for a value-based climate approach by encouraging local communities to create realistic development plans. Session 2 was centered around climate finance and social justice. The speakers and the panelists stressed on the urgency to protect our world for our young citizens, along with a need for government and political and transformative institutional support. The session unveiled the urgent need for a climate finance framework focusing on inter alia guarantee schemes, early stage innovation, and governance. The importance of focusing on targeted finance for climate mitigation aspects was also brought out. The need for integrating citizen science via women self-help groups to be leaders in local resilience programs was also highlighted. The speakers and discussants in the plenary 2, session 3 on environmental sustainability and biodiversity conservation highlighted the need to adopt a holistic approach that balances human needs with the need to protect the natural world. This called upon a commitment to devise sustainable practices and policies that promote environmental sustainability and biodiversity conservation, which the working group would be proposing as policy recommendations to G20. The session 4 on food security, environmental protection, and sustainable livelihoods focused on the importance of vulnerability assessment, understanding the life cycle of livelihood systems with the participation of community members and the creation of market linkages and key infrastructure, synergizing government schemes, public policy, and actions with the protection of ecosystems and agri-biodiversity. The Roundtable on Technologies for Sustainable and Resilient Communities explored the importance of solving grand challenges faced by community through new age technologies enabled models like GIS technologies, AI and ML. Significance of reconnecting communities who have lost their touch with the natural ecosystem was highlighted. The importance of bringing compassion-driven approaches through the 4 pillars such as experience, embrace, engage and empower was stressed upon. The importance of adopting technology-based interventions such as mapping and digitization measures was also brought out. The Roundtable on Policy, Governance and Sustainable Finance for Sustainable and Resilient Communities. This session brought out the importance of policies and financial sovereign functions of governments which were required to address multiple demands of their citizens, some of which could be opposed to the sustainability goals. The session highlighted that policy adoption for better healthcare, education, nutritional supplements of the less privileged citizens, and climate-related policies will be integral in building citizen resilience and fulfilling sustainability goals to a great extent. Day 2 featured more than 40 speakers over 4 plenary and 2 roundtable sessions. The third plenary focused on the theme of net zero emission management and had 2 parallel sessions, one on net zero electricity, transport and industry, and the second one on sustainable lifestyle, agriculture, environment and partnership respectively. The panelists highlighted that the transition to net zero emissions must be based on clearly defined goals, must be just leave no one behind, and must ensure meeting the 1.5 degree Celsius target. In every sector, government and organizations must commit to accelerated decarbonization by focusing on reduction of demand, improving efficiency, digitalization, and electrification of processes using renewable sources. In the transition to net zero emissions, major emphasis must be placed on people modifying our lifestyles to reduce our energy, carbon, water, and overall environmental footprint. Keeping in mind the large inequalities in this footprint between the rich and the poor, one must ensure good quality of life for everyone. Major focus must be on buildings, transport, food, and industry. In developing countries, it is essential to build resilience and promote climate-smart agriculture, protecting lives and livelihoods. Large-scale farming practices must focus on the transition to net zero emissions. The fourth plenary focused on the theme of compassion-driven approaches to sustainable and resilient communities across 2 sessions. Compassion as a driving force for sustainable and resilient communities, and compassion-driven education and youth empowerment, and its integral role in building sustainable and resilient communities. The speakers and participants emphasized on the role that universities and think tanks play in working together towards carbon neutrality, net zero emission targets, environmental sustainability, etc. The outreach through social media goes a long way in ensuring last mile connectivity to people. Civil society organizations also play an integral role in ensuring budgetary allocations for mental health centers, for orphanages, elderly care centers. All the speakers and participants provided inputs on the importance of including a structured way of measuring value system, motivating everyone to imbibe the same and rewarding the same. Compassion, love, and empathy should be integrated at the school and college level. An ecosystem needs to be fostered through capacity building initiatives for parents and teachers. It was also agreed upon that all the students in schools and colleges should be sent to impoverished villages to make sure compassion is born in their hearts at a young age. Roundtable 1 focused on spiritual love and compassionate approaches as driving forces for sustainable and resilient communities. The speakers emphasized on the importance of integrating passion for compassion as a human value, the need for parents and family to provide an environment for foster compassion and universal love was emphasized. The importance of expansiveness was stressed upon as it would make people more compassionate than you can be. Roundtable 2 was centered around sustainable and resilient practices prevalent in indigenous communities. The need to create a holistic education curriculum to reflect the indigenous community wisdom, to include indigenous communities in all levels of policy making and training them was also highlighted. In addition to the plenary and roundtable sessions, 30 civil society organizations presented udaharans, the best practices from their respective organizations. These high-impact projects have been exemplary examples of scalable pathways for building communities that are sustainable and self-reliant. Multiple parallel training sessions were organized by Civil 20 India Working Group, Sustainable and Resilient Communities, and the UNESCO Chair on Experiential Learning for Sustainable Innovation and Development. The training sessions were centered around sustainable development, disaster resilience, and energy awareness. The participants were from college, university, and school level. A total of 200 plus participants attended the training session, and certificates were handed over to all participants. Thus, the 2 days will be instrumental in shaping the policy recommendations for the Civil 20 Working Group on Sustainable and Resilient Communities, Climate, Environment, and Net Zero targets to the G20 leadership team. The conclave, in its truest sense, has paved the way to be a true torchbearer in taking the voice of civil society organization and paving the way towards building sustainable and resilient communities. As we continue our journey towards the Civil 20 Summit in July, the working on sustainable and resilient communities will remain committed to advocate evidence-based policy recommendation and strive towards the realization of the Indian C20 motto, "You are the light," under the visionary leadership of Sri Mata Amritandamayi Devi, Amma, C20 Chair and Founder Mata Amritandamayi Mad, who echoes these principles through compassion, love, and light. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and everyone who participated engaged in in-depth discussions to bring out the best practices, the gaps, etc., to develop these policies. And I would like to thank Government of Sikkim and the Sikkim State Disaster Management in providing us all the opportunities to make this a bigger success and bringing in the co-partnership on taking it to a next level where we all work together hand in hand to build sustainable and resilient communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manisha, for providing the highlights of the conclave. Next, with great pleasure, I welcome His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, High Commissioner of the Republic of the Gambia, to the podium. His Excellency holds an associate degree in applied science and information systems, network administration, and support. Mr. Jawara went further to pursue a bachelor's degree in applied science from Campbell University, RTP campus, North Carolina, and MS in Master of Science and Information Systems from Walden University in Minneapolis, Minnesota, before his appointment in November 2020 as High Commissioner of the Republic of the Gambia to India with concurrent accreditation to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and the Maldives. He is active in numerous organizations as a board member. We are honored to have you here today.
Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Let me first thank the Chief Minister of this beautiful state for the hospitality accorded to us since our arrival this past Friday. Sikkim is an extraordinarily fantastic place. I owe a debt of gratitude to Amma and Amrita University for inviting me and my delegation to this event, the C20. Honorable Secretary of Lands and Revenue Department, Government of Sikkim, the Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Ambassador Vijay Nambia, C20 Principal Coordinator, Dr. Manisha V. Ramis, C20 Coordinator, Committee Coordinator, distinguished keynote speakers, the Ambassador, the High Commissioner of Uganda, Her Excellency Joyce Kakifunda. When we met at the border on Friday, I told her that we are the two ambassadors or high commissioners representing the entire Africa in this conclave. So thank you, Ambassador, to be with me here. I am also obliged to acknowledge the presence of our scholars, PhD scholars from the Gambia. Mr. Umar Fai is one of the delegations here. And we have another scholar from Nigeria, Mr. Yala. We have a scholar from Ghana, Charles. We have one from Uganda, Mativo. We have another one from Belize. This is Rondine. And we have a scholar from UK area. Could you all please stand up so that people can recognize you? Thank you. Yeah. We are proud of you. Please keep it up. I think every Indian should be proud of India's presidency of the G20. India, as a leader of the Global South, is giving voice to all members of the Global South bloc. This is unprecedented. So we thank you. We thank you for doing this. It is an extraordinarily honor and privilege to be here with you this evening on this momentous occasion. I am here with my delegation, my wife, and my financial attaché from Delhi. The Gambia is among the top 100 countries most vulnerable to climate change and the top 10 most susceptible to coastal erosion and sea level rise worldwide. In recent years, the country has experienced increased frequency and intensity of drought, flooding, coastal erosion, windstorms, high temperatures, and intense and erratic rainfalls. These extreme weather events, particularly drought, severely hinder the country's sustainable development and poverty eradication efforts. Despite contributing less than 0.01% to global greenhouse gas emissions, the Gambia, particularly its historic capital city, Banjul, is identified globally as one of the countries most vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Rice farmers near the coastal area are also experiencing saltwater intrusion. Fisheries are also vulnerable, with changes to breeding grounds for coastal fisheries species putting additional pressure on already unsustainable fisheries practices. In 1977, the then president of the Gambia, His Excellency Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, said, and I quote, "It is a sobering reflection that in a relatively short period of our history, most of our larger wildlife species have disappeared. Thus, I solemnly declare that my government pledges its untiring efforts to conserve, for now and posterity, as wide a spectrum as possible of our remaining fauna and flora." End of quote. What he was concerned about almost 50 years ago is now dominating today's conversation. He said this at a time when drought from the Sahara Desert is encroaching into the Gambia. And we took steps of reforestation to avert that climate disaster. Since then, the Gambia has been a leader in climate change discussions. In 2008, the Gambia developed its first mitigation-centric strategic document against climate change called the National Appropriate Mitigation Actions, NAMA. The NAMA identifies possible implementation barriers, which include access to finance, capacity building, and technology enablers. The Gambia implemented low-carbon development strategy which spells out the required institutional structures and human capital, the planning and implementation of a broad range of mitigation activities and emissions pathways to provide a comprehensive outlook on policies, measures, strategies, and actions at the national level that facilitate a shift to low-carbon development. The NAMA seeks to increase the share and uptake of renewable energy sources in the national energy mix, and it is planning to install small wind turbines of 150 to 200 kilowatts along the coastal line and centralize solar plant mainly for provisional power generations. It is projected to increase by 20% the share of renewable resources in the electricity mix. It will displace much fossil fuel planned to be installed in the local communities as part of the rural electrification program. About 85% of the energy consumed by Gambian population comes from woody biomass, from the forests and rangelands. Her Excellency mentioned about charcoal yesterday. The dependency on forests to meet the cooking fuel needs of the population is very significant and is rapidly depleting the country's vegetation cover. The production and utilization of 200,000 improved cooking stoves under this NAPA project are expected to save 450,000 and 419,000 of wood and charcoal, respectively. Losses in the transmission and distribution of generated electricity imply that a lot more fossil fuel is consumed to meet demand. The Gambia government seeks to improve electricity infrastructure, reduce losses due to poor transmission and distribution infrastructure, improve the quality of life, and improve more remarkable economic growth and equity. The project will also reduce emissions through a cut in the energy consumption of generating plants. The acquisition and utilization of post-harvest and food processing technologies have adaptation and mitigation characteristics. It aims to improve food availability and security by adapting climate change. Increasing food availability will reduce the clearing of virgin lands to cultivate more food. The clearing of virgin lands, most of which are forests and rangelands, leads to decreasing sinks and increased emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Rangelands are primarily communal, with little or no forage for the animals during the long dry season. Most pastures are lost to bushfires and other human-induced calamities. Consequently, animal productivity is drastically reduced and numbers dwindling due to mainly to hunger and diseases. Substantial reduction in the productivity of natural pastures due to human and climate factors calls for the adoption of new approaches to livestock production. Improvement in animal genetics would lead to fewer animals and a higher level of productivity. The targeted dual-purpose Ndama cattle of the Gambia produce a maximum of 1.5 liters of milk a day and an average of 250 kilograms live weight at the age of 5 years. Sustainability and benefits include poverty alleviation, food self-sufficiency, and genetic improvement of the indigenous food breeds. The government of the Gambia, under the leadership of President Adama Barrow, is implementing the rice expansion and new rice for Africa projects that is called NERICA. Most of the upland soils of the Gambia are sandy with low nutrient content and poor water holding capacity. NERICA has been found to do very well in these upland fields. Because it grows in upland sandy soils, minimal greenhouse gases are emitted. This project, therefore, has dual objectives. It aims to promote and facilitate the expansion of cultivation of NERICA and thus increase food security. The project will also lead to the reduction of emissions of greenhouse gases, particularly methane, which is produced from flooded rice fields. Waste management is a rapidly developing sector. Those current management needs to be improved. There is an increase in waste generation because of urbanization, affluence, and rapid population growth. The proliferation of illegal dump sites is common, and littering is widespread and difficult to control despite the recent introduction of the anti-littering regulations. About 49% of our total population currently lives in the urban and peri-urban areas of the Greater Banjul area. This increase in urbanization is projected to increase significantly, leading to the increased generation and dumping of household, commercial, and industrial waste. Hence, enhanced action is required to manage the waste in order to reduce its pollution and health impacts on the communities and the atmosphere. The proposed mitigation measures are expected to reduce the business-as-usual projected greenhouse gas emissions of GHG by about 49 metric ton CO2 equivalent by 2030 by more than 60%. Most recently, the Gambia in early 2021 published the Gambia 2050 Climate Vision, LTV, in tackling the climate change issues. The LTV has set very specific targets, and by 2050, the Gambia aims to be a climate resilient middle-income and true middle-income country through green economic growth, supporting sustainable low-emission development, contributing its fair share to global efforts to address climate change. The mission of the LTV is to endeavor to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050 with enhanced adaptive capacities and resilience. The TLC has the following strategic areas of focus: climate resilient food and landscapes, agriculture, food security, forestry and natural resources, including water, biodiversity, and wildlife, low emissions and resilient economy, energy transport infrastructure, and the key economic sectors of tourism and financial services, climate resilient people, health, education, equitable social development, and human settlements, managing our coast in a changing environment, climate-aware integrated coastal zone management. The Gambia government has understood that climate change is a critical issue, and as such has continued to put in place mitigation measures to cope this menace that threaten our very existence. Mata Amrita famously said, and I quote, "Many people talk a lot about environmental preservation, but true greatness lies in putting these principles into practice and actually doing something about it. And ignoring the current environmental situation is like a man on the top floor of a flat being indifferent to the fire on the ground floor. Therefore, I urge those countries who are the major emitters of greenhouse gas to contribute their fair share to protect all of us, because they bear the biggest responsibility to contain the looming climate disaster that is sure to come if these actions are not immediately taken." I thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you, His Excellency, for the informative talk. Mother Earth's natural assets are crucial for the overall physical, environmental, and economic development and growth of all. Protecting the ecosystem is the only way to ensure growth and development are sustainable. The Civil 20 Working Group on Technology, Security, and Transparency, in collaboration with the Sustainable and Resilient Communities Working Group under the guidance of UMMA, the C20 chair is happy to inform the launch of a new initiative called My Earth Assets. This sustainability initiative brings together latest Web3 decentralized technologies using blockchain, wallets, and so on with blockchain tree lifecycle management platform. The goal is to awaken the need to nurture Mother Earth's assets through an inspiring and rewarding experience, especially for the younger generation, while enhancing public trust. I would like to invite Shri Kunganya Malepcha, Honorable Minister, Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Government of Sikkim, to please launch My Earth Assets.
Good afternoon. With the permission of the chair, I would like to launch this My Earth Assets. I am very happy to launch My Earth Assets, the collaborative initiative between C20 working groups, sustainable and resilient communities, and technology, security, and transparency. Thank you.
A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. Next, we would like to show the highlights of the conclave and best practices of sustainable.
ജീവിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ വായുവിനെയും ഈ ഭൂമിയെയും ഈ വെള്ളത്തെയും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ സംരക്ഷിക്കണം.
Our planet's natural assets are vital for sustainable economic growth and development. But with increasing environmental degradation, it's more important than ever to protect and restore our ecosystems. That's why we're excited to introduce My Earth Assets, a new initiative that harnesses the power of technology to make sustainability a fun and rewarding experience. My Earth Assets is a joint effort of the Civil 20 working groups on technology, security and transparency, and the Sustainable and Resilient Communities Working Group. Using the latest Web3 decentralized technologies, such as blockchain, wallets, and more, My Earth Assets is launching with a use case called Blockchain Tree Lifecycle Management Platform. With this platform, you can plant, gift, or adopt trees anywhere in the world. Each tree is assigned a unique geocode tag that becomes an asset on the platform, allowing you to track its growth progress. And by planting, gifting, or adopting trees, you can earn reward points that can be redeemed for exciting prizes. With My Earth Assets, we aim to empower people with technology, scale participation, cultivate awareness, and restore ecosystems with economic benefits. Join us in this exciting journey to restore our planet's natural assets and create a sustainable future for generations to come. Visit myearthassets.org today and start planting your trees.
Next, we would like to show the highlights of the conclave and best practices of sustainable and resilient communities through this video.
Our
you all for your attention. I hope some insight about the event has been engraved in each one of you. In line with the vision of collaboratively joining hands and our minds to make larger positive impact, we are excited to announce the exchange of the collaborative MoUs between Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham School for Sustainable Development and the UNESCO Chair on Experiential Learning for Sustainable Innovation and Development with several prominent CSOs from around the world. These collaborative MoUs would pave the way to build communities that are truly sustainable and resilient by strengthening work at the grassroots level, sharing the best practices and collaborating in ideas in areas of climate change, environment, net zero, and sustainable and resilient communities. These MoUs would enable the organizations for advancing the activities of Civil 20 through research, project implementation, outreach, training, and publication. Now, I would like to kindly invite Dr. Manisha V. Ramesh, C20 SRC Working Group Coordinator, and Swamiji to exchange the signed MoUs with the representatives from the following CSOs. As I call out the names, I request the representatives to come to the front of the dais below to exchange the signed MoU letters. May I please call upon Mr. Sanjay Vashisht from Climate Action Network South Asia. CANSA is a coalition of over 320 civil society organizations working in 8 South Asian countries to promote government and individual action to limit human-included climate change. This MoU would help in collaborative research on policy and climate action. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Next is Mr. Srinivas Krishnaswamy from Vasudha Foundation. Vasudha Foundation is a prominent think tank with the mission to conserve the environment through innovative approaches that can ensure a sustainable and inclusive future for India and Mother Earth, with a mission to promote environment-friendly, socially just and sustainable models of energy by focusing on renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies and lifestyle solutions. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I call upon Dr. Markandeya Rai from Global Peace Foundation. Global Peace Foundation is a peace, youth and community development and seva organization. GPF share a common interest in promoting shared aims of educational learning, exchange, environmental conservation, and peace through Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and other common areas, advancing positive Civil 20 outcomes. Please give a big round of applause. Mr. Ayan Dutt and Ms. Neha from Industry Crafts Foundation. Industry Crafts Foundation is involved in promoting building sustainable livelihoods in creating manufacturing sector skill development, promote entrepreneurship for micro and entrepreneurs, advancing sustainable developmental goals. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I now call upon Mr. Tobes Nauruki from Team Environment Kenya. Team Environment Kenya is a non-profit organization. It comprises volunteers and representatives from various sectors, including corporate organizations, social enterprises, youth and women's group, schools, institutions of higher learning. Their focus is on promoting green initiative and environmental conservation as a means to combat global warming and achieve climate action. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I now call upon Mr. Brajesh Kumarji from Agrani Bharat Abhiyan. Agrani Bharat Abhiyan has been involved in organic farming, green energy, environment, healthcare, skills development, women empowerment, art and culture, telecom sector, GED, and so on. Please give a big round of applause. I'd now like to invite Mr. Dibya Alok on behalf of Libby Johnson from Gram Vikas. Gram Vikas is a rural community development organization having long-standing work for building dignified quality of life of rural and marginalized communities in various parts of India. Congratulations. May I please invite Professor Chetan Singh Solanki from the Energy Swaraj Foundation, which is a non-profit, not-for-profit organization working towards spreading awareness about climate change among masses and encouraging them to take action through climate correction. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please. May I invite Ms. Manjula Singh and Ms. Mridula Pandey from Children's Investment Fund Foundation. CIFF is an independent private philanthropic foundation from the UK, sharing a common interest in promoting research, evidence generation, and promoting of learnings and best practices across critical issues such as education and employability, sexual and reproductive health, child protection, and so on. May I now invite Dr. Marcel from Watershed Organization Trust. WOTR's work is in the areas of climate resilience in rural areas and among vulnerable populations, especially in water conservation. A big round of applause, please. I'd also like to invite Ms. Drisha Pathak from Protect Our Planet. The POP movement is an initiative designed to address the urgent need to share information and knowledge with youth on solutions to protect the global commons, achieve sustainable developmental goals, adopted by the UN, mitigate climate change, and adapt to its growing impacts. A big round of applause to all the representatives and congratulations. May I now request all the representatives to please come together for a quick photo opportunity. Thank you to all the dignitaries who joined us for the MoU signing. I now invite Professor Solanki from IIT Bombay, founder of Energy Swaraj Foundation, to donate the climate clock to the government of Sikkim. I request Honorable Minister Sir Shri Kunga Nima Lepcha to receive on behalf of the government. It needs connection. Let's have a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Professor Solanki, for the donation. Now I wholeheartedly invite Sri Lakshman Prasad Acharya, Honorable Governor of Sikkim. He serves as the 17th Governor of Sikkim. Being affiliated to the Bharatiya Janata Party, he was a member of Legislative Council from Uttar Pradesh, elected by the members of Legislative Assembly from 2015 to 2023. He was also Vice President of Uttar Pradesh State Unit of the BJP and the President of Uttar Pradesh Kashi Kshetra BJP. He was appointed as BJP's election convener of Varanasi parliamentary seat contested by Shri Narendra Modi for the 2019 general elections. We are honored to have you here today. I invite Sir to deliver the valedictory address to the gathering.
सिक्किम सरकार एवं अमृता विद्यापीठम द्वारा आयोजित सस्टेनेबल एंड रिजिलियंट कम्युनिटी कॉन्क्लेव के इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित ऑनलाइन माध्यम से जुड़े पर्यावरण, वन और जलवायु परिवर्तन केंद्रीय मंत्री आदरणीय श्री अश्विनी कुमार चौबे जी, सिक्किम सरकार के भूमि राजस्व और आपदा प्रबंधन विभाग के माननीय मंत्री श्री कुंगा निमा लेप्चा जी, गाम्बिया गणराज्य के माननीय राजदूत श्री मुस्तफ़ा जवारा जी, महानिदेशक राष्ट्रीय सुशासन केंद्र भारत सरकार के श्री भरतलाल जी, C20 कार्य समूह के समन्वयक डॉक्टर मनीषा रमेश जी, C20 कार्य समूह के SRC के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर विनोद मेनन जी, सचिव आपदा प्रबंधन विभाग श्री अनिल राज राय जी, अमृता विश्वविद्यालय के अध्यक्ष और ट्रेका सदस्य C20 स्वामी अमृता स्वरूपनंद पुरी जी, उपस्थित श्रेष्ठजन, विभागीय उच्च अधिकारीगण, C20 से जुड़े सम्मानित सदस्यगण, मीडिया के मित्रों, देवियों, सज्जनों, आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। सिक्किम सरकार एवं अमृता विश्व विद्यापीठम द्वारा आयोजित सस्टेनेबल एंड रिजिलियंट कम्युनिटी कॉन्क्लेव के समापन समारोह में उपस्थित होना मेरे लिए सौभाग्य की बात है। जैसे कि हम सबको पता है कि भारत G20 देशों के समूह का नेतृत्व कर रहा है। यह वर्ष भारत के लिए ऐतिहासिक वर्ष है। संयुक्त राष्ट्र के बाद दुनिया में कोई शक्तिशाली अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठन है तो वह है G20 है। भारत के लिए यह किसी गौरव से कम नहीं कि एक वर्ष के लिए G20 की बागडोर भारत को मिली है। भारत को G20 की बागडोर ऐसे समय मिली जब दुनिया खाद्य वस्तुओं, ऊर्जा संसाधनों और महंगाई की प्रकोप झेल रहा है। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर विभिन्न देशों के बीच टकराव बढ़ रहा है। इसी के मध्य दुनिया में शांति और भाईचारा कैसे बढ़े, इसका नेतृत्व भारत को मिला है। महात्मा गांधी व गौतम बुद्ध की इस पावन धरा दुनिया में एक बार फिर अमन शांति हो, इसके लिए भारत की परंपरा के अनुसार वसुधैव कुटुंबकम के नारे के साथ भारत विश्व को आश्वस्त करना चाहता है कि वह न केवल अपनी बल्कि समस्त विश्व के कल्याण की कामना करता है और इसके लिए ही प्रयासरत है। कोविड महामारी के दौरान भारत ने दुनिया के सामने जिस तरह का आचरण दिखाया वह निश्चित रूप से वसुधैव कुटुंबकम यानी एक पृथ्वी, एक परिवार एवं एक भविष्य के अनुरूप है। मुझे इस बात की अत्यंत प्रसन्नता हो रही है, मेरे राज्य सिक्किम को C20 की मेज़बानी के लिए वर्किंग ग्रुप द्वारा चुना गया है। यह हम सभी सिक्किम वासियों के लिए गर्व की बात है। सिक्किम को विश्व पटल से जुड़ने का एक सुनहरा अवसर है। जैसा मुझे ज्ञात हुआ, सिविल सोसाइटी प्लेटफॉर्म C20 14 अलग अलग कार्य समूह द्वारा कई प्राथमिकता वाले क्षेत्रों से संबोधित कर रहा है, जिनमें एक समूह सस्टेनेबल एंड रिजिलियंट कम्युनिटी, जलवायु पर्यावरण, नेट जीरो लक्ष्य तथा सामाजिक न्याय, जलवायु, लचीलापन, पर्यावरण स्थिरता, शून्य उत्सर्जन एवं करुणा के दृष्टिकोण अपनाने आदि जटिल विषयों पर ध्यान केंद्रित कर रहा है। मैं सिक्किम में इस तरह की संगोष्ठी के आयोजन करने के लिए आयोजकों को बधाई देता हूं। आज के समय की मांग है बेहतर कल के लिए इन विषयों पर मंथन कर मट्ठे से मक्खन निकालने का कार्य जो संगोष्ठी के माध्यम से हो रहा है, इससे अवश्य ही जलवायु पर्यावरण को लेकर बहुत सारी पॉलिसी बनेगी जो सतत विकास लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करने में मददगार साबित होगी, जिससे G20 के इनपुट प्राप्त होगा और नेतृत्व के लिए नीतिगत दिशा भी प्राप्त होगी। इस प्रतिष्ठित सम्मेलन से नागरिक समाज संगठनों, सरकार, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय प्रतिनिधियों सहित कई हितधारकों, गैर सरकारी संगठनों, उद्योग और शिक्षा जगत के एक साथ लेकर एक मंच देने का सराहनीय कार्य किया जा रहा है, जिसे द्वारा आज दुनिया के सामने आने वाली समस्याओं से निपटने के लिए बहुत स्तरीय विचार विमर्श से आगे का मार्ग प्रशस्त किए जाएंगे। यह सम्मेलन अवश्य ही नागरिक समाज के संगठनों की आवाज़ उठाने और सस्टेनेबल रिजिलियंट कम्युनिटीज के निर्माण की दिशा में मार्ग प्रशस्त करने का एक मजबूत मसाल वाहक सिद्ध होगा। सिक्किम के संदर्भ में बात करें तो हमारे राज्य में इस दिशा में कार्य करने की प्रचुर संभावनाएं हैं। सरकार द्वारा मेरो रुख मेरो संतति योजना के अंतर्गत नवजात शिशु के जन्म पर 100 पौधे लगाने का बहुत ही अच्छा प्रयास हो रहा है। बहनी योजना के माध्यम से हमारी 9वीं से 12वीं तक की बेटियों के लिए सैनिटरी नैपकिन मुफ्त में दिए जाने की योजना है। जिससे माहवारी के दौरान आने वाली दिक्कतों के कारण उन्हें स्कूल की पढ़ाई को अधूरी न छोड़ना पड़े। बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ सही अर्थों में यहाँ पालन किया जा रहा है। आज हमारा राज्य सिक्किम देश और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पटल पर पूर्ण जैविक राज्य के रूप में उभरा है। जमीन की उपलब्धता को बाधा नहीं बल्कि ताकत बनाकर दुनिया को दिखा दिया है। जहाँ इच्छा होती है वहाँ उपाय अवश्य निकला जा सकता है। मन में अगर भाव निश्चय हो पंथ स्वयं आगे आएगा। सुंदर सिक्किम, स्वच्छ सिक्किम, पर्यावरण के अनुकूल सिक्किम और प्रकृति के साथ सामंजस्य बनाकर जीना सिक्किम की परंपरा है। जैविक राज्य होने के साथ सिक्किम प्लास्टिक मुक्त राज्य भी है। अभी परसों ही मैं अपने 5 दिवसीय उत्तर सिक्किम के दौरे से लौटा हूँ। जटिल परिस्थितियों और दुर्गम इलाकों के बावजूद लोगों को जीने का जो जज्बा है, मुस्कुराते उनके चेहरे की जो ताकत है। सिक्किम वासी प्रकृति प्रेमी है, प्रकृति की पूजा अर्चना करते हैं और इसी में देवी देवताओं के निवास पर विश्वास रखते हैं। इसी कड़ी में नागा में मैंने RRC रिसोर्स रिकवरी सेंटर का उद्घाटन किया, जहां प्लास्टिक को पूरी तरह से प्रतिबंधित है। पेयजल की बोतलों का प्रयोग बेबो द्वारा निर्मित बोतलों से किया जा रहा है। नॉर्थ सिक्किम टुडे द्वारा कचरे का प्रबंधन, प्लास्टिक को प्रतिबंध करने की दिशा में कई ऐसे कार्यों से अवगत हुआ जो सही मायने में पर्यावरण संरक्षण के काम को आगे ले जा रहा है। आज मैं अमृता विश्वविद्यापीठम को भी इस मंच से बधाई देता हूँ। समाज को लाभ पहुँचाने में अनुसंधान के क्षेत्र में संस्था द्वारा टिकाऊ स्थित संस्थापक समुदाय के निर्माण और अद्वितीय कार्यक्रम लाइव इन लैब्स द्वारा युवाओं और समुदाय को सशक्त बनाने में अपनी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। जिस देश में नंबर 1 और दुनिया में 41वें और NIRF में प्रथम स्थान पर ला करके खड़ा कर दिया है। मैं माता अमृतानंदमयी देवी जी, जिन्हें पूरी दुनिया बड़े ही श्रद्धा के साथ अम्मा के नाम से संबोधित करती है, इस मंच से मैं उन्हें बहुत प्रणाम करता हूं और आपके द्वारा चलाए गए अभियानों द्वारा अपने आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान, प्रेम, करुणा के माध्यम से मानवता को जो जोड़ा है। अतः माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी द्वारा आपको C20 के अध्यक्ष के रूप में चुना जाना सर्वथा उचित है, बहुत अभिनंदनीय है। जैसे कि सिविल सोसाइटी प्लेटफॉर्म C20 का आदर्श वाक्य एक पृथ्वी, एक परिवार, एक भविष्य मूल्यों पर आधारित है। ऐसी भावना सभी देश के लोगों के बीच प्रेम, भाईचारे और प्रगाढ़ संबंध स्थापित हो, हमारी यही कामना है। यहाँ मैं एक बात रखना चाहूँगा, हम वैश्विक स्तर पर जलवायु परिवर्तन की बात तो करते हैं, पर इससे सामान्य जन के जीवन में होने वाली समस्याओं के विषय में चर्चा कम होती है, जिसके चलते जागरूकता में कमी नज़र आती है। ग्लोबल समस्याओं के साथ साथ यह समस्याएं व्यक्तिगत लेवल की भी हैं। मैं आज इस मंच से ये कहना चाहूँगा कि सामान्य मनुष्य के जीवन में पड़ने और वाले असर पर गहन रूप से चर्चा होनी चाहिए, ताकि हर मनुष्य इस विषय से जुड़ सके और जलवायु परिवर्तन के प्रति सचेत हो। जब तक आम जन को यह नहीं लगेगा कि समस्या मुझसे संबंधित है, तब तक इस विषय को सही अर्थों में जमीन स्तर पर उतारा जाना कठिन होगा। इस विषय को स्वच्छता अभियान जैसे जन आंदोलन के रूप में प्रचार करना, प्रसार की आवश्यकता है। आज के इस मंच से मैं यहाँ उपस्थित सभी विभिन्न देशों के डेलीगेट्स को धन्यवाद देता हूँ, जिन्होंने जलवायु, पर्यावरण और शुद्ध शून्य लक्ष्य में अपना विशेष योगदान प्रदान किया है। आप लोगों द्वारा अपनाई गई उत्कृष्ट पद्धतियों जैसे पवित्र धार्मिक स्थलों में पौधारोपण करना, सड़क पर रहने वाले लोगों और बच्चों का पुनर्वास करना, सौर ऊर्जा और वर्षा जल संचयन, समुदाय के बीच समस्याओं समाधान के लिए चौपाल लगाना, जिसमें अभी तक 26 गांव, 8 राज्य और 1600 से अधिक सहभागियों की उपस्थिति कार्यक्रम की गंभीरता को दर्शाती है। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि इस सम्मेलन से आप लोगों ने बहुत सारे चीज़ों का अनुभव किया होगा, जिसे ले जाकर आप लोग अपनी निर्धारित स्थानों में लागू करेंगे और विश्व को एक बेहतर रहने की जगह बनाकर सतत विकास के लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करेंगे। मैं कहूँ कि टैगलाइन ही यू आर द लाइट, आत्मदीपो भव। हम स्वयं के अंदर वह अनुभव करें और लोगों के प्रकाश की किरण को दर्शाता है। अतः समाज अपनी स्वायत्त शक्ति के साथ गतिशील होता है। एवं अपना स्वयं निर्मित करता है। और जिस प्रकार का यह C20 का यह सम्मेलन और आपका चिंतन मनन हुआ है, यह देश के लिए बहुत ही उपयोगी सिद्ध होगा। मैं अपनी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और अपनी बात यहीं से कि सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्। जय भारत, जय सिक्किम।
माननीय राज्यपाल महोदय को उनके उत्साहजनक शब्दों के लिए धन्यवाद। Thank you so much, the Honorable Governor of Sikkim, for your valuable and encouraging words. Let's have another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Next, as a token of appreciation, we would like to honor our dignitaries by giving mementos. I invite Swami Amrita Swarup Anandapuri to present the memento to the Honorable Governor. A round of applause, please. I also request Dr. Manisha V. Ramesh to present the memento to His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, Ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia. Can we please have another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you all. As we are nearing the end of the event, I would now like to invite Dr. Sasangan Ramanathan, Dean, School of Engineering, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham, to say a few words of thanks.
Om Amriteshwariye Namaha. I feel extremely privileged and humbled to deliver this word of thanks at the close of the Civil 20 India Sustainable and Resilient Communities Conclave, organized by the group working on climate, environment, and net zero target. My heartfelt greetings and thank you to our Honorable Governor of Sikkim, Sri Lakshman Prasad Acharya ji, Sri Kunga Nima Lepcha, Honorable Minister, Land Revenue and Disaster Management, His Excellency Mustafa Jawara, Ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia, Swami Amrita Swarupanandapuri, Troika Member, C20, Professor Vinod Menon and Dr. Manisha, Coordinators, SRC, and Her Excellency Joyce Kikafunda, High Commissioner of the Republic of Uganda, who came here all the way for delivering that very impressive speech on the inauguration day, ma'am. We are all very blessed to have such people here to grace the occasion, and like everything has to come to an end, we wind up today. I would like to thank Sri Anil Raj Rai, Secretary, Land Revenue and Disaster Management. He's been a constant and endless support and motivation that has helped us make this conclave a great success. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Swami Amrita Swarupanandapuri, Troika Member, Vice Chairman, Mata Amritanandamai, for his unwavering guidance and support. Thank you, Professor Vinod Menon, International Coordinator for Sustainable and Resilient Communities, for giving an overview about the C20 workshop here at the closing ceremony. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Manisha Ramesh for providing the highlights of the conclave. Thank you to the team that put together an excellent video summarizing what had happened in the last 2 days that made us all sort of understand what went on. I would like to thank, wholehearted thank the staff who supported the exhibition stalls, and also Mr. Raunak Kumar for exhibiting the medicinal plants. He's been a wholehearted support here and had come with novel ideas. Thank you very much. This was a hybrid conclave, and I would like to thank all of the participants who stayed online. And I have to tell you that many of them had to stay beyond 11:30 in the night or early hours, their local time. We humbly thank you for all your participation and enthusiastic passion. We all leave today with a very renewed sense of purpose, passion. I think we've heard that we have to act, and we have to act now. That's a very simple message that's come across in the past 2 days, regardless of which room you were sitting. I would like to thank all the members of the CSOs and Amrita for putting together countless days and hours in putting together this event into a grand success. Thank you very much. Let's give them a big hand. Now, it is with humility and gratitude that I thank every member staff of the Chintan Bhavan who have wholeheartedly supported us in the past 3 days, and we all respect and our pranams to you, to the entire crew, please. We would like to also thank the members of the Sikkim government, SSDMA, IPR, for their unrelentless support during the last 3 days. It's been a pleasure working with you. Above all, I think if we have to walk away with a message, we would like to humbly thank the C20 chair, Shri Mata Amrita Nandamayi Devi, for her visionary guidance, support, and inspiration in everything that we do. Thank you, Amma. And it's her guidance that we are taking one step towards mitigating this whole issue of global climate change, building resilient communities. And the message is very clear. We have to act local, but we all have to act unitedly. Now that's why we always every day say, Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. It has a meaning and a purpose, and that came from Amma's guidance. So with that, I say, Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, sir. May I now request the dignitaries on the dais to please close in for a photo opportunity with the Honorable Governor. May I request the camera persons to please come forward. Thank you all. That brings us to the end of today's program and the end of the 2-day C20 Conclave on Sustainable and Resilient Communities. On behalf of the organizing team from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham, Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Government of Sikkim, and other partners, I take this opportunity to thank all the dignitaries, delegates, individuals representing various organizations and governments from different countries, speakers, distinguished participants, and guests for visiting Sikkim to participate in this fruitful conclave. We hope that you had a memorable visit and a fantastic C20 experience. Before you depart, I'd like to encourage all the guests to please go out and explore the beautiful town of Gangtok and get a night view of MG Mark this evening if possible. Thank you all. I request one and all to please rise for the national anthem. I'd like to request everyone to please proceed for high tea. Thank you and have a good evening.